Hi, you ready to brew some kombucha? All right, so I have all my supplies here. I have everything laid out in my kitchen. One thing I didn't account for was where the sun was gonna be. So if I step over here, I'm gonna get blinded. So I'm gonna stay out of the sun as much as I can. And if you have any questions as I go, feel free to chat them. I actually have my laptop open, so I'll be able to answer them. Okay, so I've been brewing kombucha for about a year now, and I really like it for a couple of reasons over store brands. Number one, it has less sugar, which is great. So I'm always trying to reduce sugar. You guys know that I really like to beat that drum. So this is a great way to have something healthy that's a little bit lower sugar than the store brands. And then I also like to brew it at home because it's significantly cheaper. I think that at my local Whole Foods, a bottle of kombucha is about $5, and I can brew a whole gallon of kombucha at home for probably $1. I'm gonna post links in the comments after I'm done with all the products that I use. Almost all of them I order on Amazon. There's a couple things like the sugar that I get at my local grocery store, but for the most part you can just order it all on Prime. So it's so exciting, you could probably get started by this weekend. So I'm going to walk through how to start your own scoby. That's a big question that a lot of you guys have. So the scoby is like the, it really looks like scum. I'm going to show you what mine looks like, but it's this like gelatinous thing that is what ferments your kombucha. So it turns it into the fermented tea and has all the good probiotics in it. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, like any food preparation that you do at home, there's risk with this. So it's just like, you know, undercooking your meat or eating raw batter. You really just want to be super careful. Wash your hands, keep your utensils and your jars very clean. If you've ever canned before, it'll be a similar situation as canning. So you just want to make sure that everything's clean and sterile, that the countertops you're working on are clean, so that you don't get any bad bugs in your good probiotic brew. Any mold, if it's green or black, that's not normal, and you should just scrap it and start over if you see anything like that. I've never had that happen, but I saw, you know, that there's some people online that's happened to, so just a little heads up there. And then the smell. It should smell slightly acidic, vinegary, kind of, you know, fruity and tart. Those are all good smells for your kombucha. If it smells rancid or anything vaguely resembling cheese, that would be bad, and you want to start over on that one too. Definitely don't drink that. Another note, I have a little notepad here so that I don't forget anything. Another note is that there is some alcohol in it. So it's a very low amount. I can comment with the exact range on those amounts for you after I'm done. But if you're avoiding alcohol for any reason, just something to keep in mind, that the fermentation process is producing a little bit of alcohol. Okay, then one other thing. When I brew it, it's a lot stronger than what you might be used to in the store brands, because the store brands are really diluted. So lots of times they'll come already mixed with like a fruit juice or a tea. So I kind of like to do that a little bit on my own at home. So I'll brew the kombucha. In my brew, I change it out probably every 10 to 12 days. So I like it really tart and really acidic. And so then what I'll do is I'll take that really tart, acidic kombucha and I'll dilute it with a little bit of iced tea. I have a favorite recipe that I'm going to share with you guys, but I use fresh ginger, lemon juice, some maple syrup, and then that's kind of like a ginger lemonade. And then I mix it with a hibiscus iced tea, and it reminds me a lot of the shaken iced tea lemonade that Starbucks has. So I'll make that up, and then I'll do like a 50-50 ratio with my kombucha and then this tea. So that's something really good. Other people like to do, so I brew my kombucha with green tea, and I'll show you that. But some people like to do black iced tea and then dilute the kombucha with the black iced tea. Let me see what else before I get started here. I think that's it. So let me know if you have any questions, just making sure again that you're using like really clean stuff because we don't want any bugs in here. So to make your own SCOBY, let me grab something out of the fridge. Okay. So this is the brand that I use to start my own SCOBY. It's the JT's Kombucha, and you want to get the original flavor. So make sure this is just plain kombucha. You don't want to get any of the like funky flavors that they have. So get this plain one. So you can make your own SCOBY. It's 7 cups of water, a half cup of sugar, and I'll post all this, so don't worry too much about taking all the notes. 7 cups water, half cup sugar, 4 bags of tea. And that can be black tea or green tea. Don't use like herbal teas when you're doing kombucha. It just doesn't have, like, the way I understand it anyway, it doesn't have like quite the same amount of food for the fermentation process, and it can really like diminish the vigor of your SCOBY. So green or black tea. And then 1 cup of this unflavored kombucha. So this is going to basically, it's like if you've ever done those friendship breads, like the sourdough breads that you keep in the Ziplocs, you can, you know, take a little bit of that friendship bread and then use it to like make another one. And so basically this is just like inoculating, beginning that process of getting the good bugs into your kombucha. So I'll post a recipe to make your own SCOBY, but basically you're gonna put all of that together in a jar and let it sit covered on your countertop for 1 to 4 weeks. And pretty soon there's gonna be this scum. I'm gonna use a lot of appetizing words like that when we're talking about brewing your own kombucha. So there's gonna be like a scuzzy layer that forms, and eventually it'll grow and it'll thicken, and that's going to be your SCOBY. I'm going to show you my SCOBY soon, and you're going to be, it looks like an alien body or like a jellyfish. So it's great. Yum, right? Okay, so that's kind of the process of getting your own SCOBY started. You know, you're going to basically borrow a little bit from the GT's Kombucha. And then when you're done making your SCOBY, so 1 to 4 weeks, it just really depends on a lot of different conditions. So you'll just keep an eye on it. And then when it gets to a certain level of thickness, I like about like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Like that would be a good layer of SCOBY to start with. Then you're going to reserve 2 cups of that initial brew. And that technically is kombucha, but if it's been sitting on your counter for 4 weeks, it's probably super, super vinegary. Like you probably won't enjoy the taste at all. So just reserve 2 cups. And then your new SCOBY, and that's what's going to get you started on your brews. And then every 10 to 12 days after that, you're gonna start your new brew. So let me just show you how I do my weekly brews. I'm gonna show you what materials I use. So I just bought, sorry about the sunshine, I just bought these new jars off of Amazon, and I'll have the link to these. They have plastic lids on them. I actually don't even use the lids because what I do is all of this will be the tea with the 2 cups of reserved kombucha from our first brew, and then you're just gonna set the SCOBY on top, and the SCOBY is gonna do the work of fermenting your tea and turning it into kombucha over those 10 to 12 days. So when you cover it, it needs to be something breathable, but that isn't gonna let anything gross in there. I have a cat, so like I really don't want any of her in this tea because that would be disgusting. So what I do is I cover it with paper coffee filters, but you can use like a cheesecloth or anything like that. So let me just show you real quick. Okay, so I just get plain old coffee filters, and I use it 2-ply, and then I use a rubber band. It's so simple, and I'll just fix it over the top and let it brew right on my countertop. You want to put it somewhere that isn't in direct sunlight, that isn't going to get bumped too much, and that's kind of warm. So often I actually keep it by my refrigerator because the exhaust in the refrigerator seems to like kind of make a warm pocket there. I mean, think about it as like when you like let dough rise, you know, it might be like a similar condition to that. Okay. So I just use plain sugar. I think obviously I favor organic products over conventional products. So if you can find a granulated sugar that's organic, I have not tried it with coconut sugar. I feel like it's a little bit less sweet, which the bacteria need the sugar to survive on and to turn the tea into the kombucha. Theoretically, they're eating up the sugar, so like there should be less sugar left when it's ready for you to drink. So if you're worried about having too much sugar, it's really kind of getting lost in the fermentation process. So I just pick up the biggest bag that I can find at the grocery store or Walmart, and that's what I use. And then for tea, and like I said, I'm going to post links to this stuff so that you won't have to go on a hunt for yourself. I use, this is just Stash brand, it's organic green tea, so I do use organic teas. I like using the green tea over the black tea just because of the health benefits. I'm not otherwise, necessarily like a huge green tea drinker, but this is a great way to get all those polyphenols and the EGCG from the green tea in your diet. So I'd use that. And honestly, like 100 tea bags from Amazon, it's really reasonable. I'll show you where to get that on bulk. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hands really quick, because I just said how important that was, before I'm gonna reach in and show you my scoby. So basically what I do every week is I take a huge stock pot and I fill it with water, because I brew 2 gallons at a time, and pretty soon I'm actually going to do 4 gallons, because you'll find that your SCOBY is going to continue to grow. It's going to get thicker and thicker and thicker, and you can actually split it and like give some to a friend and they can start their own homebrew kombucha, or you can just keep like multiplying it and have kombucha jars all over your house. We used to struggle drinking it all, but now we just love it so much, so we drink it no problem. Especially when we mix it with the iced tea. That's really my favorite, with the ginger. Yum. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I do the stock pot, huge stock pot with water, and for 2 gallons of tea I use 12 tea bags, so it's 6 tea bags per gallon, and then it's 2 cups of sugar for those 2 gallons. So I'll post a recipe to this. I'm actually going to do a blog post with it, so it'll be really easy to reference. So I have like 2 gallons of water basically. I have 2 cups of sugar. I have 12 bags of green tea. And then it's 2 cups of starter tea, which is going to be from your finished brew, which is what this is, per 1 gallon that you're going to reserve. So it's kind of this big mixture that's going to come together. So I boil the water, I add the tea bags, I dissolve the sugar, and then I let it cool, because you want it to be room temperature, because if it's boiling, it's going to kill your SCOBY. So once that's cool, I remove the tea bags, I add in my reserve kombucha from the previous batch, just those couple cups that I was telling you about, and then I pour it into the fermentation jars like this one, and then I set my SCOBY on top, I cover it with my cheesecloth or my coffee filters and fix the rubber band on it, set it on the counter, let it brew for 10 to 12 days. So these guys are actually ready to get changed out, and I have a couple of batches of new tea, just the green tea, waiting to brew. Okay, so I'm gonna get out the SCOBY here and introduce you guys. It's a little juicy, hang on. This is my completely mammoth SCOBY. Look at this, it needs to be split. So there is like, I want to see if I can show it to you. There's like many layers to this. It is an alien body, like I said. It looks kind of like a jellyfish. It's very dense. I can smell that it smells fresh, like very acidic, kind of has like a fruity, tangy smell to it. And if I wanted to split it, like I'm actually going to do, then you just pull it apart and it separates. So now I have 2, perfectly good SCOBYs. You'll notice that, or you might notice when you do your own, gosh, I'm making a mess, that there's like some like residue on it, like a brownish residue. That's okay. That's actually the tea leaves from the tea bags, the little particulate matter of the tea leaves that are kind of aggregating and forming like little complexes with the SCOBY. That's totally normal. If it bothers you, or if you feel like it's kind of like gumming up your SCOBY, you could like carefully rinse it with a little bit of water. I'm gonna rinse my hands. You could carefully rinse it with a little bit of water before putting it back into your new brew. So now I take the SCOBY out and I just set it on a clean plate while I'm working. And then I'll take, this is my new jar of kombucha. This is ready to drink. I've had it on the counter for 10 to 12 days now. So what I like to do is actually, I'll show you what I used to do first. Hold on. What I used to do, sorry about the sun, it's like blinding me, is put it in these pretty little bottles with this stopper, and my brew has now exceeded this capacity. So, but that can be fun. You know, if you're just gonna do 1 gallon at a time, maybe you invest in some nice glass bottles to keep it in your fridge with. What I like to do now is to use these half-gallon jars. So I'll just pour all of my finished kombucha into the half-gallon jars and keep it in the fridge that way. Okay, so I think that is just kind of like the high-level overview of how I do it. And I have to say, so I love plants and I buy them a lot and I water them and I take care of them and they always die. Especially cacti and succulents, which are supposed to be super low maintenance. I'm really, really good at killing those. But I've never killed this SCOBY. We even went out of town. We went to London last year and we were gone for quite a few days, even over when our kombucha should have been changed out, and our SCOBY was totally fine. The kombucha itself, like, I didn't really find to be drinkable. It was too vinegary because the longer it stays in there, the more sugar it eats, the more vinegar-like it tastes. But the SCOBY was just fine, and we just brewed a new batch, and this is still the same one going strong over a year later. So it is very forgiving, even coming from someone who kills, you know, really low maintenance plants. So I encourage you to try it. And like I said in the beginning, like, it's just great because it has less sugar than the store brands and it's so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper. I should actually work out like what the cost is. But you know, like I said, like a bottle like this is probably like $5 at Whole Foods, but like this whole jar, I think I brew for about $1. So that's great. I'm gonna check on my laptop here because I'm filming on my phone and I just want to make sure that nobody has posted any questions. So if you have any questions that have come up as I've shown you how to do this, then just chat them and I'll answer them right away. Otherwise, if you want to think about it or start your own brew and then you have your own questions when you're getting started, then let me know. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have any questions. So, oh yeah, thanks, Mom. It does taste amazing. It's really yummy. I think that some people at first like find that it's an acquired taste, and that's why I like to dilute it, you know, with some fresh juice or some, you know, tea, maybe like a sweetened tea, or like I said, like with the fresh ginger. That's some fun ways to try it. I like the little bit of zip that it has. Like, it has a little bit of a bite to it, and I actually really enjoy that. So when you are making your own kombucha, this reminds me, I kind of mentioned that the longer you let the SCOBY sit in there, the less sweet it's going to be. But you know, there's a couple different, you know, couple days time where you might find that you want to pull the SCOBY out and like switch it out to do a new brew. So like maybe you taste it on day 9, like just, you know, get like a turkey baster and put some in a glass, you know, and just take a sip. And maybe it tastes like, you know, a little too sweet for you, let it go another day and then do that again, and then let it go another day, you know, and repeat. And then you'll find the right brew duration that's right for you and your taste. But yeah, it's some of the health benefits, like, I mean, really the majority of them are around the probiotic benefits. It's just so important to get probiotics through our foods as much as we can. And then also just like the polyphenols and the antioxidants from the tea. Those are really great too. And like I said, I like to brew mine with green tea, so you have all those added benefits, but you can certainly use black tea too. So, yeah, I got a comment here from, let me do it on here, from my mom, again, a fellow kombucha brewer. She said, I think it's tangy and refreshing, and when you go back to the store, but all you taste is the sweet. Love the hibiscus tea. Yeah, that's like totally one of my favorite ones. Or what I have recently started doing is brewing hibiscus tea. I'll show you, I have the tea bags here. So I like the traditional medicinals hibiscus, and then I combine it with the lemon balm, and that's super tasty. So I'll probably brew like a half-gallon jar of the tea with about 4 tea bags, so 2 of each, and then, you know, mix it 50-50 with the brewed kombucha, and that's so good. So I totally encourage you to try it. You really don't have that much to lose. I mean, you know, if you're already buying the kombucha anyway, the store-bought kombucha, you know, like you're kind of comfortable paying the $5 for that one. So worst case scenario, you're out a bottle of kombucha and some tea, but you know, it's a really pretty low stakes adventure there. And I've really enjoyed doing it, and I find it so easy. So if you have any questions as you get started on your own, please let me know. I'll be posting product links in a blog with a how-to, and then I'll leave this video up for a while. So if you know anyone who's interested in brewing their own kombucha and you want to share this video with them, then by all means do. I'm not sure how it works since this is in a closed group, the Health Detectives Academy. So if you aren't able to share it outside the group, then just add them to the group, and then they can see it that way. So, okay guys, good luck.